monthly stimulus checks, universal basic income, and guaranteed income. What is the difference and which one is actually better, as some of these are already in action right now and more are likely to come? Let's talk through all the details. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and for being part of this community. If you haven't done so already, or if you happen to be new here, please make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video, as I am your daily advocate. Thank you so much, and let's talk through the details. So now you might be thinking, hey, these sound really similar. Monthly stimulus checks, universal basic income, and guaranteed income sound like basically the same thing. Well, you're pretty much right. They are very similar. However, they are different at the same time. So let's walk through the differences and let's talk about some of the different programs that are actually already in effect right now, right under our nose, that we may not even know about or even recognize as one of these programs, and more are likely to come and even be extended. So let's talk through these one by one. But first off, I just want to say this much. So universal basic income and guaranteed income are essentially the same thing. I mean, they're very similar. They may have a few little differences here and there, but essentially it's around the same thing. So for all practical purposes, let's just break it down and just say, what is the difference between monthly stimulus checks and UBI, universal basic income? Okay, so they're basically the same thing. UBI and guaranteed income, essentially the same. So let's just break it down between these other two. So let's move through these one by one, because there actually are differences, and some of them, I mean, between monthly stimulus checks and UBI, between the two, they actually have their pros and their cons between them. So let's walk through the differences between each of these. Let's first start out with monthly stimulus checks. Sounds pretty cool, right? A monthly stimulus check in your sweet little hands month over month, right? Or in your bank account. I mean, they're not going to send you like cash in the mail, but, it's fun to think about anyway. Open up your mailbox, there's a bunch of money sitting in there for you. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, that'd be the life, right? No. But anyway, monthly stimulus checks, what are they actually? Well, essentially the same thing that we've been getting here over the last 12 months or so, but on a monthly basis. So whatever they would determine as the stimulus amount would be, whatever it happens to be, maybe it's $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, who knows? I mean, that would be all up for negotiation when they would actually determine, hey, what do we want to do for monthly stimulus checks? So what these would be sent out for would be in a situation where the economic conditions would be like really bad, like what they were in probably like 2020, where we need to like really start stimulating the economy really rapidly and get money into the hands of the people so that they can go out, buy the necessities, and really stimulate the economy. Now, that's kind of the whole purpose behind monthly stimulus checks, is to help the people, but at the same time, it's really to stimulate the economy. That's why they're called stimulus checks, or as they call them, direct payments, but it's still the same exact thing, stimulus checks. So here's the thing with stimulus checks. Generally, they would be short-lived, as in like short-term. So there would be probably a defined end date. So like the stimulus checks that we're currently talking about with the two proposals floating, well, actually three proposals floating around right now. Basically, what these would be, let me give you the examples with the proposals that we're actually looking at right now. So one of the proposals says a $1,000 stimulus check on a monthly basis going forward for 12 months. The next proposal says a $2,000 stimulus check going forward for 6 months, right? So they have a defined end date at some point in the future. One goes for 12 months, the other one goes for 6 months, right? So that's what the difference would be with monthly stimulus checks, is they would have a defined end date, and they would probably be larger in size, as in the price tag or the amount that would be sent out to you would be much larger in size. So that'd be one nice thing about monthly stimulus checks, is you would get a nice amount of money on a monthly basis for some unknown period of time. Now, let's compare this to universal basic income. Universal basic income is a little bit different, but it's also very similar. Basically, it would be sending out monthly payments to basically every person or every citizen, whatever they define as who would be eligible for UBI. But generally, UBI encompasses everybody, like literally every citizen within a country, within a state, within a county or a region or whatever, however they define it. But generally, it is every citizen, regardless of income or status. So that's one of the differences. The other difference is UBI is usually something that extends indefinitely, right? It just continues to go on and on and on with no particular end date at any point in the future. It's just like, hey, we're going to start this now and we'll see how it goes, and maybe we'll end it at some point in the future, but for the most part, we're just going to let this thing keep cooking into the future. That's typically one of the things with UBI. One of the other differences with universal basic income versus monthly stimulus checks, payments are typically smaller. Whatever it would happen to be, it'd probably be a smaller stipend because we wouldn't be in the same situation as a monthly stimulus check where it's like, hey, things are really bad right now. We need to get money into the economy and into the hands of the people. Let's pump it up and send out like $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 a month for the next 6 or 12 months. Whereas UBI is more like, hey, let's stimulate the economy going forward by sending out maybe $500 to every single citizen on a monthly basis for 5 years or more than that, 8 years, 10 years, whatever it happens to be. So that is another one of the differences. One other thing that I didn't mention about monthly stimulus checks, something about these is, like we've seen, typically it would encompass those individuals who are earning within, a certain threshold of income. Like what we've seen before, typically for an individual under $75,000 or a married couple under $150,000. And like I said with UBI, it's basically every person. You could see the guy down the street earning $500,000 getting the same $500 check every month as the person living on the other side of the street earning maybe $10,000 a year. They'd both be getting the same $500 check every single month, month over month. So these are a couple of the differences, but let me give you a couple examples of programs that are actually going on right now under our nose that we may not even recognize as one of these programs. So currently, the child tax credit, the expanded child tax credit. I've talked about this before in a few videos. In fact, this is, in its current state, monthly stimulus checks. That's exactly what it is right now. Those monthly stimulus checks are starting in July and extending through the end of 2021 on a monthly basis. What makes them a monthly stimulus check versus UBI at this current state? Well, they have a defined end date. That's what makes it a monthly stimulus check. However, they're trying to turn it into UBI, Universal Basic Income. Why? Because they're trying to extend it out indefinitely, as in extend out the child tax credit indefinitely, forever. They want to make it a new thing that extends out forever. So then it would turn into UBI. It would no longer be monthly stimulus checks because there's no defined end date anymore. Therefore, it would then be UBI, right? Get what I'm saying? So, very interesting differences here. However, this is one of the programs, the child tax credit. I mean, what are some of the other programs that we're looking at? I mean, honestly, in the next American Families Plan that we've been talking about for a while now, we have 3 different letters that have been sent to the president calling on him and the vice president to support monthly stimulus checks going forward. Well, who says that those wouldn't possibly turn into UBI, just like the child tax credit, at some point in the future, right? Yeah, very interesting. So we'll continue watching that, and I will keep you posted on all that. But another thing, too, I've mentioned this before, and I'm not going to bring it up a ton right now, but just something to think about. This new CBDC, the central bank digital currency that we've been hearing about, so basically the Federal Reserve, the central bank, is going to be creating a new digital currency here in the United States. Just like China is doing right now with their digital yuan, you know that one? It's basically the same thing here in the United States. They're going to have a digital dollar that they say is not going to replace the dollar, but let's get real. It's probably going to replace the dollar at some point. But either way, whatever happens, it's a digital dollar. So it's basically going to be a digital dollar, and as I've been saying before, I would not be surprised one bit if every single person, every American in the United States gets a government appointed basically bank account. And every single month going forward, they drop a few little CBDC right there into your account, otherwise known as UBI, right? So, very interesting. I would not be surprised one bit to see universal basic income start at some point in 2021. In fact, in I think it was about September time of 2020, I was talking about UBI, and I said, hey, UBI is coming. It's coming in 2021. And guess what? We're basically getting it in the form of child tax credits, right? Now it's only a matter of time until they do it on the adult level. At one point, are adults going to be eligible for monthly checks? Seriously, based on everything I'm seeing, I honestly think it's coming. Seriously. But either way, when is it going to come? I don't know. But I'll keep you posted on all this. But I wanted to break down the differences between these two, monthly stimulus checks and UBI. Which one would you choose? You know, it's kind of like standing at the dessert line, right? You're standing at the dessert line at the buffet. You pull up with your bowl or your plate or whatever, and you look at all your choices. You can choose between a big brownie, hot, with fudge all over the top, or a massive overflowing bowl of ice cream. Man, which one do you choose, right? They're both so good in so many ways, but yet they're very different at the same time. Do you want to go hot or do you want to go cold? Man, can you mix them together? That's what I would choose. Throw the brownie in there and pile a bunch of ice cream on top, and hey, that's what I want right there, right? But anyway, I know, sometimes I get distracted. It's fun. Either way, thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below the video. Feel free to share this video or any others here on the channel, and make sure to check out the other videos here on the channel, as I have over 1,100 videos right here. Thank you so much, everybody. You're amazing, and I just want to do whatever I can to help you out, keep you informed, and keep you updated throughout this really confusing time. Thanks again, and I'll catch you later.